guys, this is Paige from Paperbacks and Lattes, and today I will be telling you about the books I read in August. So this is my August wrapped up, and I know it is very late. So today's date is September 14th, so we're kind of already almost in the middle of the month, and I still haven't filmed and posted my August wrap up, but better late than never, right? So I have just been super busy. The virtual school started for my son, and I'm a stay-at-home mom, so I know I have it easier than like working moms or working at home moms, but it has still been a huge learning curve, and we're just all trying to get adjusted to our new schedule. So things have just been kind of out of sorts lately, and so that's why I'm late filming this and posting it. So that is why. I know everybody is busy right now, and so I'm glad that I finally am able to sit down and talk about the books that I read in August. I had 12 books that are rated 5 stars, 9 books that are rated 4 stars, and 1 book that's rated 3 stars. So let's begin with the very first book that I read in August. I read Rain by Sahoban Davis, and this is the 3rd book in the Sainthood Boys of Lowell High series. So this is a reverse harem series, and the 3rd book just came out in August, and so now all 3 of them are out, and now you can binge read them. I had to wait for each one to come out, but I was glad that the 3rd one came, and it kind of wrapped up the series. This is about a girl who has she's kind of had a bad past with this gang in her hometown, and her dad tried to protect her. Well, her dad died in the 1st book, and some of the boys from the lower level, the junior level of this gang, goes to her school, and they kind of took her under their wing, and all sorts of things happen through the 3 books. They are trying to protect her from like the lead members, the older guys in the gang, which is actually one of the dad of one of the guys in her harem, and his name is Saint. So it was a very good series. I rated it 5 stars, of course, and I really recommend this series. It was very packed full of action, and of course steamy times, and so I really liked the series, and I was glad to be able to finish it off. The 2nd book I read was Mayhem by C.M. Stunage. This is the 3rd book in her series of the Havoc Boys. This follows a girl named Bernadette, and this is also a reverse harem. She has joined up with these guys from her school. They're the Havoc Boys. They're a gang in their town, and she was once bullied by these guys, and now she wants their help to get back at people that have wronged her in her life. And she's had a very hard life, full of troubling experiences, and this is their journey from understanding why they did the things they did to her, and how each of them becomes to love her. And there are 2 more books that are supposed to come out in the series. She was going to write 3, but she announced recently that she has a lot more story to tell. So the 4th one is supposed to be released near the end of September, but right now the author, C.M. Stunage, had to flee her home because from the wildfires out west. So we don't really know when they're going to be released, but she is working on 2 more books for the series. The 3rd book I read is Speechless by Kim Fielding. This was a shorter book, but very good. This follows 2 guys, Travis and Drew. Travis is just going to work every day, just, spending time with his cat. He adopted a cat, and he's just going about his everyday life. And when he walks home from work to his apartment, he notices this guy that is outside on his porch playing his guitar, and he always wants to listen to him play. One day he finally gets the courage to stop and, you know, introduce himself, and he finds out that the man, Drew, cannot speak. He had actually suffered from a car accident that left him with a condition called aphasia, and he cannot speak or write, and he can't sign. There's like language, the part of the brain where language is damaged. So they have to communicate through other ways, and they form a relationship, and their relationship is just beautiful. I love both of the characters, Travis and Drew, and of course I rated it 5 stars. Then I read Inked in Lies by Gianna Darling. This is the 6th book in the Fallen Men series. No, this is the 5th book in the Fallen Men series. This follows Casanova, or Nova as they shorten it to, and Lila. This is one of the guys in the motorcycle club, and this follows their story from when they were children. Casanova is his club name, but Jonathan is his given name. And Jonathan's family moved to that area when he was 17, and he met Lila and she was 5. So this is an age gap romance. And Lila and her brother, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but they lived in a very dysfunctional home. Their father was a drug dealer and their mom was a drug addict, and so they had a very bad home life, and the family, Jonathan's family, just kind of took them under their wing a lot and tried to help them out. And then of course something happened to where her mom tried to take Lila, and the dad wasn't having it, and so the mom was shot and the dad was sent to prison. And so they were put into foster care because both of them were minors. But then Jonathan dropped out of school to make money so the family could afford to, you know, have them as fosters and kind of adopt them as their own. And then it shows them growing up, and Lila is very much in love with Nova, and now he is one of the member of the motorcycle club, and he rejects her, and then she pretty much refuses to have anything to do with him, and they kind of go from childhood friends to enemies to lovers. So it was a very good story. I loved it. I love all of the books in the Fallen Men series, and I love Inked in Lies, and I cannot wait for the next book. Then I read Ritual by Candy Steiner. This is the 5th book in the Palm South University series. This book had just come out in August as well. This is following a group of guys and girls that go to Palm South University, and they're all in the sorority and fraternity groups, and this just follows their lives as they're going to college, through friendships, through relationships, through jobs, through just all the things that go on. And of course I can't really get into everything because this is the 5th book, but each book is written kind of like a TV show. Like there's episodes, so there's 6 episodes in each book, and this just follows the group of guys and girls at Palm South University. Then I read The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. This is a really funny book and it also has a trope in it that I really like, which is the caretaker trope, where she gets sick and he chooses to take care of her, and I really enjoyed that part in the book. But this is about a guy named Josh and a girl named Lucy, and they work at this same company because it's actually 2 companies that join together, and they are both work right up under their boss, and so they work together now. And ever since the first day, she you know, smiled at him. She was very friendly, and he kind of, he's really like a brooding hero. He kind of comes off as cold and distant, and so she didn't understand his, you know, that's his personality, and so she thought he was just being really mean to her, and so then they formed this this kind of work relationship where they hated each other. So they did everything they could to tick each other off, and it was kind of funny though at times because they would form these games of like they copied each other, or just games just to tick each other off, and it was so funny. But I really liked how they came to really know each other, and that they weren't hateful. They really weren't. He really liked her, but he just didn't know how to express it, and it was really neat to see their relationship grow from pretty much hating each other to being in love. Then I read the first book in the Marriage Raffle series by Stasia Black. It is Theirs to Protect. This is a reverse harem series. I was kind of in the reverse harem mode in August. This follows a girl named Audrey, and it's in this time of like a dystopian future of the United States. Some type of chemical was released that had made this virus spread that killed almost every woman. Then there was some chemical warfare from that another country attacked the US, and so they are just, this is a time of everything has had to revert back to the old ways because there is no electricity, there's no running cars. Well, there's a few that they've managed to get running, but really people are running out of food, they're running out of water. There's barely any women left, so the women that are left are taken and sold and done horrible things to. And so Audrey has been living in this underground bunker that her uncle made, but she and her brother flee because they are trying to find this island called No Man's Land, started by these group of women trying to have women come to it so they can protect them. And on the way, something happens to her brother, and she is all alone, and she is rescued by this group of people who live in Jacob's Well, and this is like a community, and the commander of the community set up these rules to where a woman, if she is willing to participate, she can be put in a raffle type of sorts, and they choose 5 different men from this raffle. And of course they have very strict rules about which men can join the raffle, because you know they're trying to do this the right way and not just let anybody in. So they choose 5 husbands for a woman, so because there's like 12 men to 1 woman ratio, and so there's just not enough women to go around for 1 man, so they do 5 men to the 1 woman. And this is Audrey, and she gets her 5 husbands, and she is totally against it. She doesn't trust that there's good people in the world, and so she has to really come to learn to trust these guys and that they want the best for her. And it was very, very interesting book to read, and I really liked it. Then the next book I read is Him by L.L. Ash. This is a book that I read for the Taboo Book Club, set up by the Book Refuge and Library of Tomes. I will have their channels linked in the description below, and if you want to check out their book club, they have all the information on their Instagrams. And so I read Him. The theme for August was best friend's dad. So Him was a lot like Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. I've read Birthday Girl twice now, and I love it, and I always wanted to read something like it. and this book is very, very similar. So if you like Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas, then you will love Him by L.L. Ash. This follows Bay. She is 18 or 19 when the book starts, and she is headed off to college, but her dad lost his job, and so they are really struggling with finances, and so she is going to live with her best friend in at her dad's house near their college town instead of living in the dorms to try to save money. And so she goes with her friend Georgia. This is her best friend since they were kids, and they go and stay at Georgia's dad's house. And Georgia comes, she has seen her dad throughout her childhood, summers when he would get her for a while because her mom tried to keep her from him, and so they're not as close. And so he's really looking forward, his name is Blake, he's really looking forward to spending time with his daughter. But then when she moves there, she decides that she wants to join a sorority, and so she leaves Bay at her dad's house, and she moves out, and she kind of doesn't have anything to do with her dad and Bay anymore. And so Bay is at his house by herself with him, and they just find a lot of common ground. They really like a lot of the same things, and they start to have feelings for each other, and they form a relationship. And of course they keep it secret because it's very taboo. It's an age gap, and she does take him home for Thanksgiving, and they try to hide their relationship. And it is just a really great book. I rated it 5 stars, of course, and of course Birthday Girl is #1 in that type of genre or trope, but Him by L.L. Ash is a very close second, and I really enjoyed reading. Then I read My Alien's Baby by Stasia Black. This is the second book in the Draki series. This follows Izo is an alien, and Aunt Anna is a human girl who haven't read the first book in the series. This is just like a shorter book, but I probably should have read them in order to know more about it. But this one seemed interesting, so I just read it. It was just a quick read. And this has to do with these aliens are needing to mate with a human, so because they are unable to mate with themselves anymore to create, more of their race, and so they are mating to these humans to create more for their race, and so they won't die out. And that's pretty much it. It was an okay read. I rated it 3 stars, which is kind of like can take it or leave it. I don't know if I'll read the first one. It was okay, nothing special. Then I read Cherry Bomb by Carmel Rhodes. This was the second book in the Taboo Book Club for August. This follows Cherry and Cash. Cherry works at this restaurant as a server, and she waits on Cash and his friends, and they are very attracted to each other, so it leads to a one-night stand. And then she really likes him, and she later learns that this is her best friend's dad, because her best friend has never met her dad. She has just started to meet with him and talk with him, and then she finds out that it's her best friend's dad, but she doesn't say anything and keeps on kind of seeing him in secret. And they really strike up a relationship. They fall in love with each other, but they're trying to hide it, and of course it comes out in a very bad way. And of course this is taboo. This is an age gap, and it's her best friend's dad, and I rated it 4 stars. The next I read Desolate by Autumn Gray. This is the first book in the Grace trilogy. And this follows Solomon and Grace. Solomon lost his parents when he was young, and so he was raised by his uncle Luke, who is a priest. And so he decides early on that he wants to become a priest like his uncle and help serve God and help serve, help people. And he is 18 or 19 when he's always known this girl named Grace. They go to the same school, and of course she comes to church. I'm not a Catholic, so I'm sorry if I'm sorry if I get any of this terminology wrong. He has feelings for her, and they start to kind of see each other, and he is just torn about what to do because he loves her, he wants to be with her, but he has made this promise to God back years ago, and he has to decide whether he's going to break his promise to God to be with Grace, or if he is going to abandon Grace, leave his love for her, and go to the seminary college to become a priest. So I didn't know that this book left off kind of on a cliffhanger, so I need to read, I think there's 2 more books in the series that continues their story, but I need to read them because it does leave off, there is not, there's not a final conclusion at the end of Desolate. And I rated this book 4 stars. The next book I read is Theirs to Pleasure by Stacia Black. This is the second book in the Marriage Raffle series. This follows another girl who has come to Jacob's Well during this time of a future U.S. where there has been this virus that killed off most of the women, and she has 5 husbands as well. Okay, so the first book was about Audrey, and her brother went missing in that book. Well, he was captured by these men who are the bad guys who are trying to kidnap any women they can find so they can sell them. And he rescues a girl from them and runs off, and they wind up at Jacob's Well, the town where his sister is at. So she chooses him, and 4 other guys are selected from the raffle to be her husbands, but she is actually working undercover for the bad guys for part of the time until she doesn't really want to be, but she's kind of being blackmailed to do it. So it is a lot of action, and I enjoyed this book as well as the first one, and I rated it 4 stars. Then I continued on in the series, and I read Their Honeymoon. This is 1.5, which is the novella. This is just a short story following the girl Audrey from the first book and her husbands as they take a honeymoon. And I rated this one 4 stars as well. In the next book, I continued on in the Marriage Raffle series. This is number 3, and it is called Their Bride. This is by Stacia Black, and this follows a girl named Vanessa, and of course her 5 husbands. And I rated it 4 stars. Vanessa was found, she had escaped this group of bad guys that had her, and they found her and took her in, and so she had to, she was finding love and finding that she could trust these guys. Like, she kept hoarding food because she didn't know if if they were going to ever turn on her, if she had to escape. And it was another good book in the series, and I rated it 4 stars. Then I read number 4 in the Marriage Raffle series, and this is Theirs to Defy. This follows Drea. She is actually the leader of the No Man's Land Island, where they were trying to bring women there to protect them, but they are overtaken by this motorcycle club, which she used to be affiliated with because her father was the motorcycle club's president. But they are a bad motorcycle club. They're a bad gang. They are working for the bad people, and so she tries to take them down and is trying to save all these people because she feels this immense guilt for having all these women come to no man's land, and then they are taken over by the bad people who then abuse the women, and so she feels like it's all her fault, and so she does everything she can to help them. And she's also selected 5 husbands, and she chooses them instead of having them chosen for her. And hers are some about love, some for more political reasons, but they do all end up falling for each other. And this book contains a lot of action, and I really enjoyed Drea's story, and I rated it 4 stars. And then I read the final book in the Marriage Raffle series. This is number 5, and it's called Theirs to Ransom. And this follows Sophia. She is actually the commander's daughter, the commander of Jacob's Well. And she decides to take off after they got a call from on their solar phone that they wanted her to come to New Mexico to be a bride for the men out there, so they could help. If she would exchange her life to be a bride out there, they would send men to join the army to fight against the bad guys. So she decides to do that, but the guys that take her, their leader had it kind of disguised where he was just trying to kidnap her to, get a ransom from her dad, because they knew that he would pay money or do something that they wanted to get her back. But of course, along the way, they fell in love with her, and she also helps to try to take the bad people down and try to start put new leaders in place to help try to make the world a better place. So that was the final book in the series, and of course, I rated it 4 stars as well. Then I read Hero by Lauren Rowe. This is the first book in the Morgan Brothers series, and I absolutely loved it. I rated it 5 stars, and I cannot wait to read more in the Morgan Brothers series. I have heard about the Morgan Brothers series from Bree and Jess, so In Love and Words and Peace Love Books. Their channels I will also put in the description below. They have talked about the series, and I really wanted to start it, and I'm really glad I did. I cannot wait to read the others because the Morgan family is such a delight. I love each of the characters in the family, and I fell in love with the family. And this follows Colby. He is a firefighter, and he gets injured while he is trying to put out this house fire and save this baby. And he gets badly injured, and he's put in the hospital, and his physical therapist is named Lydia, and she is helping him heal and regain his mobility to walk and all that again to try to get better. And of course, he pretty much instantly falls in love with her, and she is a single mom with 3 kids because her husband had died. He was a police officer, and he died on a call. He was shot, and so she has a lot of PTSD from that, and so she's trying to get over that. She of course feels love for Colby as well, but she has her kids to think about, and there are a lot of factors. And I love how Colby he's not trying to take their dad's place, but he loves them so much, and he would just do anything for Lydia and her kids. And the love that her kids have for Colby is it's such a heartwarming book. I loved this story, and of course I rated it 5 stars. Then I read Hearts and Thorns by Ella Fields. This is the 3rd book in I think it's the Magnolia Cove series. I didn't write it down, so I think it's the Magnolia Cove series. But this follows a Jackson and Willa. They're actually stepbrother and stepsister, and they end up falling for each other. So it is kind of taboo, and they have grown up with each other, I think, since the age of 2 or 3, or no, I think it was actually younger than that, but it was since they were little. And then they have just grown up to be kind of each other's best friends. And then of course that turns into more later on, of course, when they're teens, and they end up being together. But then of course their family finds out and totally freaks about it, and she is sent to live with her dad, and they are trying to fight to, and find a way to be together. And then something happens, a very bad misunderstanding, that forces them apart for many years until they are brought back together again. But there is a lot of hatred between them at that point, and so they're just trying to figure out what happened, what misunderstanding took place, and try to find a way to be together even though everybody wants them apart. So this is a very taboo love story, but also full of angst and longing, and I loved it, and I rated it 5 stars. Then I kind of got on the trail of more taboo books. And of course that really extends into September as well, so September's wrap up will have a lot of taboo books as well. But the next book I read is Love Unexpected by Q.B. Tyler. This follows Dominic and Stasia. Dominic is Stasia's stepdad, but he's been her stepdad for a few years. When her mom met him when he was her math teacher, and then later on he became principal at her school, and her mom dies, and they are both dealing with the tragic loss of her mom and his wife, and along the way they find love with each other. So this is of course very taboo book of falling for your stepdad, but it was really good. Of course it was full of angst and longing as well, and I rated it 4 stars. Then I read the first book in the Phoenix Project duet. This is From the Ashes by Candace M. Wright. This is a reverse harem series. This follows a girl named Cam. She has signed up for this project. It's the Phoenix Project, where they told a bunch of fatally ill people that they could sign up for this experiment type of drugs that they want to give them in order to give their family $1 million. So they're already going to die anyway. They want to they have these experimental drugs that they're wanting to play around with on these people, and in exchange that they would give their family money. So she signs up for this because she wants to leave her brother something, that will take care of him after she dies. And she signs up, and she is put into the boys building because she kind of looks boyish, and they won't change her, they won't put her in the girls, so she kind of has to hide her identity for a while because she's really scared of being abused by these guys. But she forms a friendship and then a turned relationship with several of the guys, and they find out who she is and they protect her, and it's very good. It's full of mystery. It's very full action packed too. It also I rated it 5 stars, and then I read the second book in the duet. It is From the Fire, and this just continues on with their story. They are trying to figure out, because there is fishy stuff going on. They know that what they signed up for is not right, and there's things happening that they're trying to escape from this place. And it's very action-packed, especially the second book. I also rated it 5 stars as well. And then the final book I read for the month of August is Unconditional by Q.B. Tyler. This follows Cal and Maddie. Cal is a police officer when he found Maddie at this home where her dad murdered her mother. He found her in a closet because she ran and hid, and I think she was 7 years old, and so this is an age gap. And he takes her in because she instantly forms an attachment to him, and so he takes her in and kind of raises her. Although he never adopts her, he just isn't, he's not her dad, he's not her stepdad, he's her guardian. And his partner, his police partner, but is his sister-in-law, and so she helps raise her too. She's more of the mother type figure in her life. And when Maddie is grown up, she is like 17 turning 18, and she's had an infatuation with Cal for many years, and she wants more from him than just being a guardian, and so of course their relationship turns into more. This is taboo, of course, because it's her guardian that has raised her since she was 7, and of course age gap. This was fantastic. Of course it was full of angst and longing, and I rated it 5 stars. So those are all the books that I read for August. I hope you had a great reading month. Let me know what you read in August, and if you've read any of these books and how you like them. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!